Hello, my name is DJ, and recently on LinkedIn, I post about how I was using Lofty to sell a share of a four-plex I own. And I wanted to give just a quick demo of how it works and explain both the basics of Lofty and how I myself am selling on it. So first of all, Lofty is at Lofty.ai, and they allow you to sell a share of your property. And you may have, there's variations on this out there. Lofty seems to have got a lot of traction. One of the things they do that they don't talk about is they use blockchain and a concept called DAOs, Decentralized Autonomous Organization. And they don't even really mention that on their website. And that's important because the average person doesn't care about that. But I'm going to show you behind the scenes what that looks like. So basically with Lofty, you can go and browse properties. So let's just go right now to the marketplace. And these are just various properties they have available, and they have all kinds of numbers here. I'm not going to dive into the details. You can explore these on your own, but it's pretty neat. It's kind of like browsing Zillow, but instead of buying a whole house, you can buy just a piece of a house. So I'm going to drill into one of them right now. This is a place in Austin, Texas. It shows their token price over time, and they have some more information down here. And I'll drill into this a little bit more with my own property, which I'm going to do right now. So this is my property. It is, well, let's see, it's slow to load here. It's this is the property. It's at 326 to 332 South Alcott Street in Denver. I've owned this since 2018. It has I just listed this last week, so there's not a lot of history on it. It just shows the price per token over the last 30 days. It has some details here, which explains how many beds, baths, square footage, that kind of thing. A little narrative about who I am and some information about the property, just like you would expect when you were looking for a property to buy. So now let's delve into it a little bit more. So the financials here, these are projections. This is based on historical operating results. So if I scroll down here, this looks kind of like what you might see in a typical real estate underwriting. You have your gross rents, property taxes, insurance, property management, utilities, and so on. And, so far, so good. This is exactly what you would do when you're looking to evaluate a property. They have something called an order book. I'll come back to in a minute, but this is the people who are buying shares of their property. They're paying $50 a token. I am the one who's actually selling those tokens, and I've put a limit order in of $50. So if you don't want to spend $50, you won't get it. But as you can see, a lot of people are doing it, and they're buying it in tiny little chunks, $50 at a time. Let's go over to documents. So this is kind of the meat of how all this stuff works legally. Lofty, for every asset, they create a Dropbox for each one of them. And if I click view documents, it'll take me there. I'm just going to click here because I've already got it open. So this is the full Dropbox. It's got the lease agreements, loan documents, some repairs, typical things you would see when purchasing a property. What I'm going to drill into here is the LLC part, because this is where the rubber meets the road in terms of the legal structure. So first, let's just go look at the certificate of good standing, because that summarizes everything. This is from the state of Wyoming. Here's the name of the entity. And it pretty much it says, yep, this is a legal entity and this is what owns the property. Now let's go to the articles of organization. And this is, it says Decentralized Autonomous Organization Limited Liability Company, DAO LLC. A DAO LLC is a new type of entity that the state of Wyoming has started offering. And I believe the state of Tennessee and Vermont also offer this. I expect more states to be doing this very quickly. A DAO is explained here in this article. But the way it works is it's more or less like an LLC in terms of the way liability is handled and ownership is handled. but instead of having a manager who is the designated owner, it has a contract address. So a contract is a smart contract. That's a concept in crypto. And if we go here, you can see it has this right here. Here's a link to that smart contract. Now, this is interesting. If I click on that link, it takes me to something called Algo Explorer. That doesn't work anymore. And this is why blockchain is important, because Algo Explorer is just a website that no longer operates, but the underlying data is still there. And let me show you what I mean. So if we go back here, you see this number 936-706-204. There are what are called block explorers out there that you can go find that. So I'm going to go into the Para wallet. They have a block explorer. And so I'm on that contract right here. Here it is, 936-706-204. And it's pretty dull to look at. This is basically like looking at a database schema. Not the most exciting thing in the world, but the important thing to realize is this is not locked up in a database somewhere. This isn't in an Oracle database or a Postgres database somewhere. This is in the cloud, so to speak, and anyone can come look at it at any time. And more importantly, it cannot be taken down. It cannot be deleted. This will always be there in perpetuity. Now let's go back to Dropbox again and close out here. And then here's the operating agreement. Again, this is pretty standard stuff for an LLC. But what I do want to highlight is this part. So they have a document, a Notion document that explains like how do they do governance. This is where everything happens. So if you were to click on that link, it would take you here. This is just an explanation. And the way it works is basically the number of tokens you have indicates your ownership of the property, and that's how much your vote matters. So when you first buy one of these properties, you get a questionnaire that you fill out that has the kind of questions that an owner has to have an answer to. So for example, what happens if someone is late on their payment? Do you evict them right away? Do you try to work out a payment plan? Do you give them a month grace period? Those kinds of things. So everyone gets a say on that, and they can vote on that. And that's what determines what happens. So I'm the owner and I own the majority of the property, but technically I should say I own a majority of the property, but I don't own all of the property. So everyone has a voice in this and they all get to vote. And that's how the entity is governed. So this is just like what you have in typical LLCs where you may have 3 or 4 partners and there's rules around what you vote on and what different shares count for. But this has been scaled up into an autonomous organization that does all that automatically for you. And it's still a very new concept and it's still fairly primitive, but over time, this is going to become, I think, a dominant way of organizing this kind of information. And there's more about DAOs. If you want to learn about them in Wikipedia, you can just search for DAO and it'll come up and it explains kind of the big concepts. But it's a really cool concept. So now let's look at the actual money that's being earned. So let me go up here to Assets Overview. So this is my property right here. And you can see this is the value. This is actually the value of the equity in the property. Right. So there's debt on the property too. I can't just sell all of the property. I can only sell the equity that I own in the property. And let's see. Let's go to this. This shows the total, my total value. So the total value is here, and then I have already sold about $11,000, a little bit less than $700 worth of the property. And if I want, I can withdraw it here. They take you to this form that you fill out. I won't go through this. It's pretty straightforward. I'm going to show you a different way of doing this that does the same thing. So let's go back here. I'm going to go to my wallet again. So this wallet, this is being displayed in Lofty. It's taking a second to load here, right here. But but Lofty doesn't actually control this. This is also a smart contract. So I can go again to Algorand and find that same smart contract. If you look here, the wallet address, it says M7EX, and then it goes on forever. I could copy that if I want. I've already done that, and search and find it here. This is that same thing in Algorand. And I want you to look at something here. So here is the actual asset. And this shows the number of tokens that I currently own. I've sold some of these tokens. And this shows the dollar values that I'm holding. These are USDC. This is a what's called a stable coin that's run by a company called Circle. So 1 USDC is equal to $1. That never changes. And what's neat is that, again, it's showing in Lofty, and here's the number of tokens, and here's the property value, and here's the crypto value. I can click on here to see those dollar values. And this is mirrored right over here. And it's not mirrored, it's the same thing. They are pulling from the same data source. If I click on this asset, I can actually see the transactions against it. So what I did is I listed 2012 tokens for sale. Now, they haven't all sold yet, but I listed them. And so as part of the contract, those get put into a shared contract that Lofty uses to complete those sales. If I want, I could cancel the sale and get back the ones that have not been sold. But originally there were 7,500, 2012 have been taken out, and the balance is whatever that is, 5412. Okay, so how do I go about getting money out of this this sale I've done? I've got about 11,685 here. And if I wanted to, as I showed you earlier, I could go to the Lofty mechanism and fill out the form and have them do it. But because it's cryptocurrency, I can actually do this myself and send it to an exchange to convert to real world dollars. Since this is a wallet, there's buttons here for send and receive. And so just like with any crypto transaction, I can move from one wallet to another. Well, as it happens, I have another wallet in Coinbase. And this is all the different transactions I've done recently in Coinbase. And they have wallets for all the major platforms, including Algorand. So I'm going to receive some crypto here. Let me click receive. And it's USDC that I'm using, right? So this is the stable coin that I'm using. So I can click here to receive USDC. It's got an address here. I can click copy for this address. Now let's go back over here, and we're going to send it to that address. So I enter that address, and I'm going to choose USDC, and let's send $200. And let's preview the transfer. And $200. And this is what's neat. The cost to do this is 0.001 algo, which is literally not even 1,000th of a penny. It's extremely efficient for sending stuff. Compare this to an ACH. An ACH, typically a bank will charge $1. Sometimes they'll do it for free, but oftentimes they charge $1. Or if I was using a credit card, you're talking 3%. So this is an extremely efficient way to move money around. So I'm going to click send, and it's going to ask me for my auth code. I'm going to enter it now, and technically this is not good for me to be showing it on the screen, but the cool thing about auth codes is they expire every 30 seconds. So by the time you see this, it's no longer valid. And so now it says sent, and look, my balance, it went down to 485 instead of 685. And if I go over here to Coinbase, and there it is, $200. I just received it. If I click on that, if I want, I can go look on the Block Explorer to see the transaction itself, but that money is here. It is mine. It's in my Coinbase account. Okay, so how do I get that $200 that currently is in UDC and turn it into actual dollars in my bank account? Well, there's a couple steps. And again, this is Coinbase. It's going to be different from exchange to exchange, but a lot of people have Coinbase. So hopefully this is helpful. I'm going to go to my assets, and I'm going to click cash. And so here it is. So here's the USDC I have. And then there's just the US dollar, which is how it's represented inside of Coinbase. So what I want to do is convert cash. So let's click convert cash. And I'm going to, I want to flip these around. So right now I have 201 penny in USDC, and I want to turn it into dollars. So let me just do that. And I'm going to preview the convert. There's no fee to do this. That's great. And this is Coinbase working. So voila, now I've got it. So now I want to get it into my bank account. So one more step. So I want to withdraw cash. I've got $200 available because I just converted it. So 200. And this is going to go into my bank account. Now there is a $3.50 fee for that. At the end of the day, there's always a cost to get in and out of crypto, but relatively decent, especially when you get to larger amounts. I can also, I forgot, I could also have the option of just doing a stand. That's for instant, but if I do an ACH, it's free. So I don't need the money right this second. It'll take 1 to 3 business days. So I just preview that. Go ahead and withdraw it. And it's going to be there on Thursday. And I am done. So a few extra steps, but not that bad considering. And the speed of getting my property sold is amazing. I mean, I listed this property on, I think we put it out there less than a week ago, and I've already sold about $11,000 worth of it. And compare that to doing a full sale of a property. It's just head and shoulders above, and it gives me so much more flexibility because whereas before I would have to sell the whole property and pay all the commissions that go with that and all the brain damage around selling it. Now I'm just selling a piece of it and I still control it. If I want, I can buy back these tokens in the future, or over time, I can sell more of them and then eventually sell the whole property if I want still. And that's it.